The most common question I get asked on the stream without a shadow of a doubt is, what skin are you using? And this year I've had the honor of using and promoting the outrageousness that is the SAS-23 skin. So let's get into it. By the way, the streams are linked in the description. You'll find me live Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Now, I actually made a video about this skin back in November when it first came out, but since then there's been a raft of updates, and I felt it was only fair to tell you about them, especially if, much like me, you're one of those people that download a skin at the start of the game cycle and then just play through it for the rest of the cycle and don't think to update it because what could possibly be added? Well, that's where today comes in. And don't worry, the next Second Nationality World Cup Challenge video will be out in the coming week. I know your time is valuable, so I don't want to take up too much of it. So if you are interested in a full rundown of the skin, then do be sure to check out the video which I will link in the description from before. Don't worry, I'll still outline a couple of the main features here in case you are brand new to it. Before we jump in properly, I thought we'd just stick the installation guide for it right up front in case you are new to skins, so you don't have to watch through the entire video to find out how to actually install the damn thing. Pretty simple really, but all you got to do is go to the description of this video, click the link for the skin in there, and it will take you to this folder. Now, the key thing to remember is this folder will always be updated with the latest versions of the skin, even if you're watching this 2 years from now. Once you're here, it's just a case of picking the right skin for you. For most of you, that will be the one at the very bottom here, the sort of default skin, hence why it has all of the downloads. However, if you are a laptop user, there are two different versions for you as well that are designed for a lower screen resolution, one with bookmarks and one without. The bookmarks, though, are one of the best features, so I would recommend giving it a go. There is also new, the hidden attribute version, which means if you've got the in-game editor switched on and you like to play with that as well, it'll bake in a load of information from the editor directly into the skin, which I just think is kind of cool. So there you go, first new thing. Download the one you like, whack it in this folder, My Documents, Sports Interactive, FM23, Skins, smash it in there, good to go. Once you've done that, then load up the game, hit Preferences on the main menu, type in skin. You don't have to, I just find it easier. And then down here, you'll see the skin should now appear. It won't be selected, obviously, because you won't have installed it yet, but once you have, just click it there, hit confirm, and it's all good. The only thing to be aware of is when you do update the skin or add it new, if you are using custom attribute colors, such as I am, then you will need to set those back to how they were before prior to the skin's installation, but that takes like 2 seconds. You'll also note that on these pages, there's a lot of career stats. Just set them to whatever you like, and it's all going to be good. If they keep resetting, there's a way around that, because you will find that will sometimes happen with installing things. The key thing is to go to one of these screens on the main profile page and make sure that this is not ticked. From what I'm aware, this will stop it from like randomly resetting stuff all the time, because I know people have had that issue in the past, so that is how you prevent it. Just make sure that is not ticked. So just to run you through a couple of the main things that I absolutely adore about it, the first thing is the fact that everything is condensed onto one screen, basically. You can see here, there's tabs for basically every screen you could possibly want without ever having to leave this page. It's bloody fantastic. There's even a training setup on here, which you can adjust. It's amazing, but more on that in a different video. Biggest thing for me, though, which I always want to highlight, is the bookmarks. You'll see down here, you can have custom bookmarks on this panel here. Now, bookmarks are an underused feature of the game. We all know that. To give you the TLDR, basically, you can pin any item that you want in the entire game on this panel now, and I just think that is a fantastic way of having to do things. So now we can have coefficients, the Conference League in there, this random stadium in Lithuania, which has got some people on the bench in it, in case you want to show that occasionally, which I do. There is, of course, loads more stuff, but check out the other video for that. This one is about what's new, so let's get into that. It is worth noting that we now have a special section of the Discord, which is literally one of the channels called SAS23, where you can come, and if you have any issues with the skin, Saz will no doubt be able to help you out with that, hopefully. So if you do have any issues, that's probably the best place to go. Be linked in the description, along with all the other good stuff. Right, first things first, the skin has now been downsized in terms of how much file size it is, and that might not seem like a big deal, but it is going to make things a lot easier when it comes to loading times, and any extra optimization there is always a good thing in my book. One thing that I felt was missing from the original version of the skin was the ability to praise and criticize players in bulk when it comes to training. You can now see that, as is in many other skins, that is now present here as well, and it's just a really nice thing to be able to do. You've got to be able to yell at more than one person at once, right? Get them in a room and begin the verbal abuse, or yell praise at them. I don't know your managerial style. It's also worth noting on the topic of those views, they've all now been updated to the latest versions, as I do have a habit of continually tweaking things, so you'll get the latest versions built in, but I'm sure most of you have those already. This is where things really do take themselves up a notch. This is the Stats Plus panel, which was definitely not in the earlier version of the skin. Now, I've got to explain what this is, because this is a lot of stuff, I realize. But essentially, this takes a lot from the incredible work of FM Stag. With permission, of course, this is in the skin. And I will link to their article about this too, because it is genuinely fantastically interesting. What it boils down to, though, is these metrics are what you would expect a certain player to be hitting to hit these different metrics based on the highest leagues in Europe, essentially. So a really elite elite header of the ball in a major league would be expecting to win, on average, 6.99 headers per 90 minutes. So you can get an idea of where your players fit into those metrics, and I think it's a fantastic way of analysing the talent that you have at the club. And the best thing about it, of course, is that it varies depending on what type of player you're actually putting into it. So we're using a striker at the moment, which is a goal-scoring attacker, I suppose, in Bobby Tree, and you can see that for him, he actually falls into the somewhat poor rating when it comes to headers won per 90 minutes. Now, that doesn't mean that he's bad in the air. It might just be our style of play is slightly different. You'll also see that he's not particularly great on the dribble, but you can see that he massively excels at things like non-penalty XG per 90 minutes, his shots on target per 90 minutes, his conversion rate per 90 minutes is massively through the roof. And it's a really interesting way of being able to analyze the players that you have at the club. It also makes use of the data hub, bringing in custom statistics in here too, so you can immediately get an idea of where their creativity sits, for example, here as well. And if you're the sort of person that loves stats, this is the kind of thing that you could get lost in for hours. I haven't even come close to using this as much as I should do, honestly. The best thing as well is it could almost work as a scouting tool too. This is a Chelsea player, Imanol Moreno. Obviously, we don't have this information as that's privy to your own data hub, but you can still see his ratings across these various metrics. But it is interesting to have this information about players that don't even play for you. And you can even see their other information for slightly different positions that they might play in. It's just a game changer. Some of the other views I've come up with over the course of the year, such as the amateur final view, which we use to find amateur players, but it can be used as a more basic scouting tool as well, have also been baked into the view. The Scouting Center inbox item and the Scouting Center itself is now fully, completely customizable, whereas you'll remember back in the day, I basically had to have Saz add custom columns for me built into the skin, whereas with some lovely changes, you can now have anything you like in here. Slightly strange one, but one I genuinely really like, and that is you'll notice that the fixture colors have been changed on the schedule page. Now, what this means basically is that certain games will be highlighted in certain colors depending on the competition, making it much easier to spot what game was what. So you'll see the purple ones are for friendlies, the green stuff are for cup matches, the blue are for Champions League, or I guess European games, I'm guessing, and then obviously league games are left blank. I'm not entirely sure how it works in countries with more than one cup competition, but I'm pretty certain that there is another colour associated with those, or it might just have them as green as well. I like to be able to see at a glance what competitions we were playing in and when. It just makes that a lot easier than having to sort of squint through these, because apparently I have terrible eyesight. This is more of a niche use case, but if you're one of those people like me that sometimes has to use instant result just to get through fixtures a little bit faster, it's now been updated to the point where you will now see a lot more statistics that are more relevant when you get the pop-up for the instant result. So I'll just show you now. Okay, so it's just occurred to me that tactic I'm using is not very good on the instant result, but there you go. So you'll now see things like XG and just a little bit more information than you may have got before on this screen. And it's just a nice way of presenting it, and you can move this around. This has always been possible. I just like the fact that it exists. In the main inbox item for scouting as well, you'll notice there's now a column called staff. What this basically is supposed to do is tell you which member of staff scouted the player. It doesn't work very well. That's not because of the skin. That's just because the game doesn't give you that information very often. And it only seems to work when they bring you new players through recruitment focuses that it will tell you which member of staff scouted that player. For some reason, when you then send a scout out specifically to look at a player, it doesn't tell you it in here, even though it has that information. As you can see, Sebastian Arneson did it in here. But game, hi FM, this information exists. Just let me put it here, please. The reason this matters is because, you know, you're going to have one scout that's better than others sometimes, and you might want him to give you a final once over so you can see if the report is actually to be believed, because you know how these can often be massive lies. Something I'm unsure as to whether it was in the original version of the skin is all this added information you'll now get on the contract negotiation screen, especially for new players. I think the pros and cons might have been there, but now there's an injury history, some various other information, and one thing that definitely wasn't in there before is the second nationality displayed on this screen. And you might think that's a niche thing, but if you're someone that like me that likes putting in international wage rise clauses to get their initial wage down a little bit, the last thing you want is to be signing an English player thinking, you'll never get any England caps, but then sneaking by is Bahamian second nationality, and all of a sudden, bro's getting a call up at the age of 19, and you're stuck paying £15,000 a week in League 2. Don't be doing that. There is actually a version of this skin for FM22 as well, in case you're interested. I think you'd have to ask Saz for that specifically, obviously, as it's going to be missing a lot of the stuff that's been added this year, but if you do like the aesthetic, then do get in touch with him, and I'm sure he'll be able to provide a version for you. I've, of course, been privy to some of the things that Saz has been trying to make work in this skin, and you would not believe some of the awesome things that he's tried to come up with to put in this, but the game is just not quite in a state yet where it can actually source that information correctly. Things like being able to display actual proper bona fide match stats on this screen without having to go into the match properly to actually see all that information. How dope would that be? And for example, being able to add some extra columns to screens like this, which might not seem like an important thing, but put yourself in this position. Imagine if you are looking for a new affiliate side. Imagine how nice it would be to be able to look at their youth facilities and various things like that on this screen without having to go to each individual club to find that information out. It's a work in progress, but I've seen some good moves there too, so stay tuned. There could be some even more fantastic things coming to the skin either this year or for FM20 Thor should things change. Did I say FM20 Thor? Good if you're doing a Scandinavian save, I suppose. But that's basically all I have for you today. Hopefully I've not made this video too long, and hopefully you'll find some of the stuff in here useful, and we'll want to continue using the SAS23 skin, and hopefully into next year with FM20 Thor. So if you've enjoyed it, drop a like, subscribe if you're new, I stream on Twitch, you know all that jazz. If you need any help, hit the description for the Discord link, or try in the comments as well. Saz will be definitely happy to help you there as well. Hold your gun, capybara, bye-bye.